Destination Moon, or How a Visionary South African American entrepreneur plans to turn the enduring dream of space tourism into reality. In the next 5 to 6 minutes, my 50-year obsession with studying all aspects of space travel will become apparent. I hope my words will awaken a latent interest in some of you for human space exploration. In the early 1960s, the most visible and publicized battleground for the Cold War between the United States and Russia was the race to the moon. In December 1968, the ideological and political race reached a critical point. NASA's Apollo 8 astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Enders flew a Saturn V rocket to the moon. In lunar orbit on Christmas Eve, the astronauts read from Genesis in the Bible while on live radio. Their words were broadcast all over the world. This event was a hallmark of the 20th century. Time magazine made the Apollo 8 crew their Men of the Year for 1968. This amazing technological feat had huge geopolitical and propaganda ramifications. The United States let the world know that its system of government was superior to that of the Soviet Union. Apollo 8 also paved the way for Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to successfully land on the moon in July 1969, thus winning the space race. When Elon Musk, the flamboyant founder of SpaceX, announced that his company planned to send 2 paying customers to the moon by the end of 2018, the world was shocked. Was this bravado, or could he actually do it? The California-based SpaceX Corporation has enjoyed several spectacular successes in the aerospace industry since its founding in 2002. The company has also suffered some equally spectacular setbacks, such as rockets exploding on the launch pad with multi-million-dollar satellites aboard. SpaceX was the first privately funded company to launch a payload into orbit. The company has successfully sent supply missions to the International Space Station, but it has yet to launch a human being into space. The SpaceX mission is inevitably being compared to Apollo 8. The announced target date of 2018, which marks the 50th anniversary of Apollo 8, is no coincidence. Musk, who's a master of media manipulation, wants to piggyback on the enduring legacy of one of NASA's boldest and most historic missions. For the circumlunar mission, SpaceX will rely on its unflown Falcon Heavy rocket for propulsion. The 2 tourist astronauts will travel in the Dragon capsule, which has flown unmanned test flights but will require major modifications for a moon mission. On the surface, the SpaceX plan appears risky, but turn the calendar back to 1968. NASA launched 1 crew into Earth orbit for a shakedown flight of its command module, sending the Apollo 8 crew all the way to the moon 3 months later. The Saturn V moon rocket had never launched with a crew aboard. Intelligence sources have warned NASA that the Russians were preparing to launch their own moon rocket sometime in late 1968 or early 1969. The Russian threat was the driving force for sending Apollo 8 to the moon, with virtually no flight testing of hardware. Space tourism has been a dream of rocket engineers as far back as Robert Goddard and Wernher von Braun in the early 20th century. In the 1960s, Popular Science magazine predicted routine civilian flights to Earth-orbiting space stations and to permanent moon bases by the 1990s. Obviously, this was overly optimistic. The good news is that there are currently 3 major companies working seriously toward achieving the dream: SpaceX, Blue Horizon, and Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic started offering tickets for suborbital flights a few years ago amidst much hoopla and fanfare. The tragic loss of their White Knight spacecraft and its pilot in 2014 delayed the program for several years. As of today, SpaceX is the unquestioned frontrunner in the race to put civilians into space. The resourceful SpaceX did not start building their program from scratch. They have contracted NASA to use existing infrastructure, including launch pads at Cape Canaveral. They are now using historic Pad 39A, the departure point for all 135 of America's space shuttle missions. The logistics of sending tourists to the moon are not that difficult. Once a powerful enough rocket engine is developed in conjunction with a reliable crew capsule, the rest is simply physics and orbital mechanics. Once escape velocity is reached, travel time to the moon will be about 3 days. The capsule will use the moon's gravity to sling it back to Earth. The return trip will require another 3 days and use no fuel. Re-entering Earth's atmosphere will be tricky, but the procedures and technology to accomplish this has been around for decades. The media will likely focus on the tourist astronauts, but they will merely be sightseeing passengers along for the ride. They will neither navigate nor pilot the spacecraft. Mission control will take place at SpaceX facilities in Florida and California. Whether SpaceX can accomplish its circumlunar mission by the end of 2018 remains to be seen. There are certainly technological obstacles that must be overcome. Safety factors must be increased dramatically. On the plus side, a private company is not affected by the changing political climate or the whims of public opinion. So far, the Trump administration has been mostly pro-space program and intends to fund a manned mission to Mars. Elon Musk has already met with the president and his aides to discuss teaming with NASA on a Mars mission in the next decade. The SpaceX moon flight will happen within 2 or 3 years. The tourist astronauts will have their 15 minutes of fame, but they will not achieve the notoriety of the Apollo 8 astronauts. A successful mission will establish SpaceX as the preeminent privately funded spacefaring company. Elon Musk will be showered with praise and admiration. A positive spin-off would be to rekindle national and international interest in human space exploration. Who knows, this event could launch the golden age of space tourism.